What's happening, guys? Jenny Anderson, Norma Thomas. How we doing? I think we're the only ones here. That's cool. Oh, Doodlebug's in the house. Okay. Chris Cox. How's it going? Yes, Doodlebug. Yes. Welcome. Welcome, everyone. AJ, Pretty Peaches. Carrie. Sandy Jersey Girl. Let's see. That girl. Catherine Summers. All right. I like to see everybody saying hi to each other. Sorry. I know I'm weird like that, right? I like to see everybody in the chat kind of saying what's up to each other. And, yeah, it's pretty dope. So I was going to go live today just because I'm off today. And I kind of dig my, I try to take advantage of my, my afternoon people. Janie Oakes, Stephanie Lee. Yeah, I try to take advantage of catching my afternoon people here because I can never go on in the afternoon, and especially during the week. So it's pretty cool that that I'm off today. So I figured I would hang out with you guys a little bit, see what we can get to talk about. Did you make Hey, that girl, I'm telling you, Doodlebug is the standard for moderators. I stand by that statement. Doodlebug is definitely the standard for moderator. And yes, that girl, thank you for dropping that link. As I mentioned last night, that link is for a petition to sign, and it is to get justice for Mandy Gorsuch, who was murdered in Oklahoma last year, and she was run over by some dipshit in a truck, and this said dipshit did not get charged with murder or even manslaughter, even though he was drunk and even though he was yelling homophobic slurs at Mandy prior to the incident or during the incident. And he wasn't even charged. He wasn't even picked up till the next day, so they couldn't even get him on a DUI. And he ran her over with his truck, got out of his truck, looked at his truck, see if there was any damage, got back in his truck, drove away. And I don't like that. I don't like things like that at all. They don't sit well with me, and they sit with me for a long time. And especially when there's no justice done for Mandy's family and friends. So that petition is to get the attention of the local district attorney there to bring charges up against Zachary Simmons. And many of you have already signed it, but for anybody who joins the chat who is new to this channel, subscribers, not subscribers, anybody who just happens to be in the chat, I would really appreciate it if you just took a second to sign that petition, and hopefully we can get justice for Mandy Gorsuch. And we yeah, so I was just in Scott Reich's live, right? he is streaming the Robert Durst trial right now, and I think the court is taking a break. It just started, so I was actually watching it, and it was entertaining right off the bat. They were making their opening statements, and one of the dudes objected to the other dude. I don't know if it was the prosecution or the defense or who was who, but I had just logged on, and they was yelling at each other, and judge had to be like, "Hey, breathe." And he overruled the objection, which was so it's an exciting trial already. So I'm yeah, I'm kind of into it. But when I was in chat, there was a person in chat who made a comment, because I made I don't know how familiar. What's the name of the fucking movie? And somebody type in the name of the movie for me. That was that Ryan Gosling was in. That was based on the Robert Durst story. Please do that, because there was a movie made. And I know that there's a mini series documentary. A little mini docu-series on HBO that's called The Jinx. It's been out for a couple years now, and I really liked it. I really loved that documentary. I was like, this is the power of a documentary. This is what a documentary can do, for anybody who's actually seen it. Yes, thank you, Chris Cox. So the movie, prior to this documentary, there was a movie, a dramatized film, in theaters too. I think. I don't know. I don't know how well it did, but it was called All Good Things, and I don't know who's seen that. I only watched it after having watched Jinx. It didn't seem like the kind of movie that I would go out of my way to go watch. And I think I was still in my mad at Ryan Gosling phase for making The Notebook, and I hated Ryan Gosling because I hate that movie. I think The Notebook is a steaming pile of shit, and people love it. I don't know why, but I can't stand it. It drives me crazy. And but what's up? Click, click, boom. Hey, Marie. I so I made it a point to watch it, and that movie was also a steaming pile of shit, and I did not. Yeah. I'm talking Gosling right now, Angelina ATF, and I saw Angelina ATF in that chat too. I didn't know you was mod in that chat. That's cool. But yeah. So I don't get me wrong. I like Ryan Gosling. I grew to like him. He did a movie. What made me like Ryan Gosling was a movie called Drive, which most people hate, which is pretty funny. At least Ryan Gosling fans. I think everybody expected like some big wham bam, shoot 'em up, Fast and Furious, like totally unrealistic type movie. I think that's what people expected from Drive, and it was not. It was actually a really interesting character study, and I really enjoyed it. And it wasn't really believable, but it wasn't unbelievable either. And there wasn't a lot of weird, exaggerated action sequences at all, but it was pretty violent. And I thought Ryan Gosling really showed his chops as an actor in that movie, so I really enjoyed it. And he hardly had any dialogue, which was great. It was part of his character. He was a very soft-spoken person and a very low-key guy. But don't fuck with him, and don't fuck with what he likes and cares about. So I do like Ryan Gosling, and the Nice Guys, being a Shane Black movie. The Nice Guys I thought was hilarious. I thought his character was hilarious. Hey, what's up, Joan? I like Gosling, but when I saw when I saw The Notebook, I hated Gosling. And then I was already familiar with Drive, and then I watched the Jinx, and then I watched All Good Things. But yeah, All Good Things fucking sucked. And I made a comment in Scott's chat about how I was like, who the fuck thought of casting Ryan Gosling for the role of Robert Durst? That made absolutely no sense to me at all. It made zero sense to me. Because I mean, come on, Ryan Gosling, Robert Durst. You know what I mean? Uh, I'm thinking more, put Danny DeVito on a diet, maybe. I'm thinking more. I don't know, like who would be like what's Squiggy from Laverne and Shirley doing these days? I think he would have been pretty good for Robert Durst. I'm thinking. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Robert Durst is. I'm not. Yeah, I'm not seeing Ryan Gosling as Robert Durst. And I made a comment about that in the chat there, and somebody just took it and got serious with it, and somebody took it and got serious with it, and she says, and it's okay, I mean, she's got strong feelings. And what's funny is I have a lot of thoughts on the subject, and her comment was something to the effect of, "Hey, Glare, I hate when criminals get famous." And then that got me that got my chat wheels turning, because I'm that guy. If I'm that's why I'm not in Facebook groups anymore, guys. Is I don't do the true crime Facebook groups anymore, man. Because what happens is I start, but now I'll be honest, I behaved. My comment going back to her, my rebuttal to her was, you know what? I could rant for an hour about that. But I'm just, I'm not going to do that here. And so maybe I'll rant about it now. Hey, the Finn, Marilyn Monroe, what's up? So immediately I thought, when I see people make comments like that, right? And let's go ahead. Let's explore that for a second. So I say for a second, like that's gonna happen. So if it bothers you, I want everybody in here to type a 1 if it bothers you to see criminals get high profile exposure. I'm oh, sorry, Norma Thomas. I was trying to figure out what your comment was there. Okay, so the Finn types a 1. That girl says a 0.5. Angelina ATF says a -1. Jenny Anderson says a 1. Doodlebug says a 0. So does that mean that you loathe it? Like, if these 0.5 means, hey, Texas girl. So these 0.5, see that girl, I took it that way. I took it like sometimes it bothers you. Okay. If they change, I don't mind, says Joan. And it depends on the crime, says that girl. And Angelina ATF, I'm going to have to disagree with you there. I don't think it has anything to do with physics. I do think that it has to do with uh, it's definitely a social anomaly. It's definitely a phenomenon. A social phenomenon is the word I was looking for. It's definitely a phenomenon, and it definitely seems to happen naturally, for sure. I agree with you. So, I guess I did misunderstand. Sorry about that, Angelina ATF. Um, Jennifer Knight says depends whether or not we learn from them or if we are safer due to our knowledge of the criminal behavior. See that? That's a very, very safe answer to that question. It's a very safe answer. And I actually agree with you. What's up, NLB? So I actually do agree with you, Jennifer. So I definitely you were talking about Marilyn Monroe about Marilyn Monroe. Okay. I Right, Pretty Peaches. That is what I was getting at. So, um, I found it. I found a little bit of irony, and I'm not saying hypocrisy. I want to be clear about that because I'm not insulting the person that made that comment. I'm just saying I could because I'm included in this. I'm not excluding myself. Um, I find a little bit of irony in the fact that someone made this comment uh, in a chat where we're all publicly watching the trial of a famous criminal. And so I feel as though this particular person, hey JaneB, I feel as though this particular person kind of inadvertently failed to realize the one unescapable and inevitable fact about that is the only reason these criminals are famous is because we make them famous. We make them famous. That we just do. There's no um there's nothing getting around that fact. Someone could sit here and say, well, the press makes them famous. Nope. 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 The press makes them famous only because we are the consumers of this information. Now, if I open a restaurant that strictly sells, let's say, I don't know, asparagus. I open a restaurant and I only have asparagus on the menu, right? The only reason my restaurant would become successful is if there was a demand publicly for asparagus. If all of a sudden asparagus was the thing to eat, the only way that my restaurant would survive is if I exclusively sold asparagus to people who exclusively eat asparagus, like it's pizza or like it's a hamburger. So, but the thing is if nobody likes asparagus, well, I'm not going to have a product to sell. Nobody's buying it. It's not, my restaurant is going to fail. The only reason my restaurant is staying afloat is because everyone loves asparagus. See where I'm getting at here? So we don't get to we don't get to push off that accountability. We are 100% accountable for the fact that criminals are famous. There's nobody else, just me, just you. There's nobody else. So now, okay, you guys, look at you all. I love asparagus. I love asparagus. I love asparagus too, but I don't get a hankering for it. I don't wake up and go about my day and go, what am I gonna have for lunch? Man, where am I gonna go? Oh man, there's that new asparagus joint, dude. That's where I'm going. Fuck yeah. That is never, ever, ever gonna happen. I like asparagus though. I prefer it with a good steak. I I agree with you, that girl. Um, and all buttered up, man, butter and oh, steamed and oh man, it's so good, so good, so good, so good, so good. Um, so yeah, uh, we can't. There's no way to divert that accountability. We can't get up here and start talking about, oh my God, stop. I can't basically, I can't have a YouTube channel where I'm going, stop giving criminals attention. Because the thing is when I hear about something and it gets to me, because right now, let's be honest, all of us right now, everybody in this chat, at least 90% of this chat is dying to know what's going to happen to Letitia Stock. But we're just going to have to live with the fact that she's getting the attention that she's always wanted. We cannot escape that fact. Tisha Stock right now is getting the attention that she's always fantasized about. Everything that we hate about this woman, everything. That's the root. The root of think about it. Whenever we're talking about her interviews, and we're talking about her social media posts, what do we all say about her? What do we all go, oh, she makes me so angry. Everything's about her. She just wants so much attention. Everyone says this, right? We all say it. We all go, oh, Tisha Stock, oh, I hate her because she wants attention so bad. But every time we go, I hate Letitia Stock because she wants attention so bad on this platform or on a social media platform of any type whatsoever, whether we type it in a chat, whether we make a post, whether we have a channel and make a video, it doesn't matter. We, by doing that, ironically, are giving her exactly the attention that she's always craved, and we are contributing, we are feeding directly the one thing about her that makes us hate her. The one thing about her that we suspect is the reason why, the motive that we know of at this point is what drove her to doing what she did to Gannon. And the reason why I am not specific about what she did to Gannon is because we, in all fairness, don't know yet. I'm sure we'll find out shortly. I'm sure we'll find out soon enough. But we got to take some accountability here, guys. Let's get real. Let's get real. We got to take some accountability. So I hate to break it to you, but we are all giving Letitia Stock everything that she has always wanted. And we're going to continue to do it. I'm not sitting here saying I'm stopping right now. No more attention to this woman. She manipulated a situation. To me, this is what makes her crime as heinous as it is. Like, it's heinous. It's more than heinous enough that she hurt, at the very least, hurt an 11-year-old boy who trusted her, who probably loved her, who definitely, I think, did his best to love her. as much as she would allow him to. I think that he loved her as much as he could, because a kid who's 11 years old and has dreams and does the best that he can with every day of his life, whenever there's people in his life, he or she, they are going to love that adult in their life as much as they can. All they want. If they have contempt for this adult, it's because that adult has contempt for them. It's because that adult does not like them. And what they don't like usually is not so much that person. They don't like the feeling that they get, the anticipation, the anxiety that they get whenever they're around because of how they're going to be treated. That's fear. So this young boy feared this woman, but I think that he did his best to love her. I truly believe that with my heart, that Gannon Stock was the kind of kid who did his best to love Tisha. And somehow Gannon was in her way. Somehow Gannon was either blocking in her mind, blocking love that she and attention that she was supposed to be getting somehow or another. And I'm just speculating right now because we don't know that much about her. But I think it's okay to speculate on motive. Most definitely. I think it's absolutely okay to speculate on motive, especially now that we know that she is responsible for his death. Or at least, yeah, I don't even like to say it. I still, it's so strange that I don't like to even admit that he's dead yet. I don't like to admit that out loud. It's so weird to me. But we've got to be honest, guys. We've got to be honest. She's going to spend the rest of her life in prison, God willing, right? She's going to spend the rest of her life in prison, God willing. But at the end of the day, she got what she wanted. Maybe it's worth it to her to be in prison for the rest of her life. You saw her face, right? You saw her face and her demeanor during her arraignment. She didn't give a shit about anything that was going on. As a matter of fact, she had kind of a smirk. Did she not? She had kind of a smirk. But and yeah, that girl, I agree with you. You're saying T seriously makes me ill. I agree with you. I feel the same way. I feel the same way. Everybody in this chat that's following this case feels the exact same way, right? But the thing, though, is she won. She won. And I hate admitting it. She won. Because to her, Gannon was nothing. She doesn't feel loss. She doesn't feel hurt. She doesn't feel pain. And the cherry on top of all of this, for her, the cherry on top of her banana split sundae is that she is getting all the attention that she has ever dreamed of. And we're giving it to her. And we're not going to stop. I'm not. I have to know what happens to her. I have to know. I have to know what happens to her. But here we are. So it's one of those things where we live in a really fucked up world, man. We just do. And what I choose to do is the best I can with it. I choose to do the very best I can with it, because things like this, we're never going to change, guys. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but that type of nature in a person, we're never going to change. And we're never going to be able to change the fact that she got what she wanted out of all of this, because she hasn't loved or cared about anyone. I don't think that she's capable of loving, genuinely loving or caring for anyone. And what's funny is I have made comments, counter comments to people who have made the statement that she's a narcissist, right? I've flat out said she's not a narcissist. I have flat out said it. And here's the thing. A big part of the reason why I have said that is because chances are, well, plain and simple, not chances are, it's how it is. Neither you or I have the qualifications to diagnose her with a mental disorder. We just don't have that. We're not qualified. I'm not a licensed physician. Neither is anybody here. And if you are a licensed physician, if you are a licensed mental health care professional, I guarantee you that you can't diagnose someone with something like narcissism simply by listening to them talk in an interview and watching them in an arraignment in court. You have to sit down and have a conversation with somebody to actually make a diagnosis. But the thing is though, is whether or not you agree with that, the fact of the matter is, most of us are not licensed mental health care professionals. So we don't get to say these things. And so I'll always, when somebody says she's a narcissist, I'm going to go, you don't get to say that. Shut the fuck up. You don't know what you're talking about. So, yeah, Golden One, I would agree with you completely. I would agree with you completely that, that she sure acts like a sociopath. And the more I think about it, she acts more like a narcissist than I originally thought so. So I don't take back my statement saying that she's not a narcissist. I do take it back, but I take it back in the sense that I'm no one to say that she's not any more than anybody else here is to say that she is. Does that make sense? So I don't, you know, it's not fair to say that, but I retract my feelings about it. And I retract my feelings about it because I think that she is completely self-absorbed. I just don't think that she's smart. And I think at least most of the narcissists that we see in these cases, they're very, very smart and very, very manipulative. And I'm wondering out loud right now if you have to be smart to be that manipulative. I think what counts is the manipulative nature, not the ability to pull off the manipulation, if that makes any sense. She's definitely a pathological liar, I think, too, Soul Sister. I would agree with you there. I think that too. I mean, again, I don't know, but We have heard her lie a lot, but at the same time, I mean, this entire time she's been guilty of a crime. So a pathological liar is someone who usually lies just for the sake of lying. She had a motive for lying here. She was lying to cover up a crime that she committed. So now, prior to that, I had said, before there was an arrest made, I was always very vocal and said, hey, well, maybe she's just a pathological liar. We don't know if a crime was even committed yet. And I don't take that statement back. But now I'm saying I don't think so. I don't think that she's a pathological liar. Again, I realize I'm flip-flopping back and forth here, guys, but it's because I'm thinking out loud. But yeah, she had a motive for lying. So, there's when somebody's a murderer and they're trying to get away with it, what are they going to do? They're going to constantly lie over and over again, and they're going to lie to cover up other lies. But as far as her being a narcissist goes, yeah, maybe, I feel a little differently about it now, maybe, because I genuinely feel that she did this for attention in some form or another. I mean, look at who doesn't do something like this for attention and gets on social media and does interviews constantly when this shit is going on, when they're being accused, and she was loving. Think about it. Let's look back on that. Let's look back on the fact that she was constantly posting things on social media regarding how people see her. That's what all her posts were about. None of her posts were about, I didn't do this and here's why. All of her posts were like, you guys are seeing me all wrong. Why do you all see me like this? I don't want to be seen like this. But she wanted to be seen. She needed and wanted to be seen. And what did we do? We reposted all of her posts, right? We put on her interviews on our YouTube channels, and we talked about them, and we went back and forth, and we picked them apart, and we said her name 1,000,000 times, right? And we're going to keep saying her name. We're going to say it 1,000,000 more times. Technically, we're going to say it millions more times because of how many people are talking about this case. We're going to see it millions. We're going to say it out loud. Tisha Stock. Right now, she's sitting in a jail cell like a pig in shit. She's begging and dying for a newspaper. That's what she wants so bad right now. Somebody turn on the TV. Somebody get me a fucking paper. Because she wants to see her name in it. If she had access to YouTube right now, man, she'd go into convulsions of euphoria. The pleasure would be overwhelming for her. Simply because she loves this shit. This is what she does. This is what she wanted. And guess what, guys? We're giving it to her. And we're going to keep giving it to her. So before you start complaining about criminals becoming infamous or becoming famous because it's because we're talking about them, guys. It's because we're talking about them. And it's because we can't stop talking about them. The only reason it gets printed in a newspaper is because we buy those newspapers hoping to read something about Tisha or whoever the new person to hate on the internet is. because they did something fucking heinous, right? Yeah, me too, Carla. Me too. I'd much rather be rich. That's for sure. But got to take some accountability here, guys. So just know, moving forward, if you're not already aware of it, the only people that have control over whether or not these shitbags become famous, it's us, man. It's us. Yeah, but see, that's the thing, Wicked Witch. That's the thing. I doubt she'll be isolated. But even if she's isolated, she is in such good company with herself and what she's done. She's in such good company with herself. She loves being around herself, right? She wants the attention, but she's okay. She's okay just sitting there and gloating, knowing everyone's out there talking about her. She's got her imagination running wild. She's got her fantasies of what it's going to be like to have all them cameras on her while she covers up and walks through a bunch of paparazzi before getting into a courtroom. She's fantasizing about that right now. And it's all because of us. So we can't stop talking about it. We can't stop watching the news. Sponsored by Wheat Thins. We can't stop talking about it. We're not gonna. So moving forward, if you're gonna be upset about these people being famous, just understand that they're only famous because of you. Yeah, Watts is loving that shit too. Watts is loving that shit. That fucking that Cheryl Ann Cadle fiasco. He loves it. He loves it. But yeah, Watts, like anybody else, I mean, he's no Manson. He's no Bundy. He's no Night Stalker Ramirez, right? He's, he's a coward. And eventually what's going to happen is, everybody's just going to forget all about him. Nobody's going to give a fuck about who Chris Watts is. Hell, we're the only ones who really give a fuck about Chris Watts. That's the funny thing. Like, if you randomly stop somebody on the street and go, "Hey, do you know who Chris Watts is?" There's at least a 50% chance that they're gonna go, "Nope." Us YouTubers, we're the ones who know. We're the ones that were obsessed with it. We are one. Let's see. I like that question. Does anybody think now? I was watching Scott Wright. I'm curious as to what Scott Wright thinks. I don't know if he's already said anything, but I'm curious as to what he says and what he thinks his predictions are as far as how this case is going to move forward. But I think there's when Caleb was in my chat day before yesterday, and he made a very, very good point that I was like, wow, I hadn't even thought of that, and now I can't stop thinking about it. Now I can't stop, my wheels can't stop turning about that. But we still don't know where Gannon's body is, and there is the very, very good possibility that Tisha is the only one who knows where Gannon's body is, and she could very well use that as leverage to get a plea deal. So We have to be very, very careful about that. So, well, um, we don't know. Uh, we don't know if she's gonna give up the body or not. Click, click, boom. We don't know. I mean, we gotta let's have a little faith in law enforcement here, guys. Let's have a little faith in law enforcement, because we don't know how good their interrogators are. They could, I mean, she's not, let's face it, guys, she's not the sharpest tool in the shed, you know? So uh, you get an investigator in there that's smarter than she is, and and I'm imagining that's not going to be very hard. Um, but you get an investigator uh, as smart as she, or smarter than she is, to sit in that room with her and interrogate her properly. They'll get that information out of her, even something that'll lead them to Gannon's location. Hopefully, I'm speculating here too, but I'm imagining, I'm hoping that at the very least, if they don't get her to flat out say it, they'll at least pay attention to clues in the things that she does say that will lead them to a that will put them in a position to apply the principles of detection in order to get to Gannon's location. So I'm guessing that's going to be the case, that somehow or another they're going to get it out of her. I'm hoping that they're going to get it out of her. So uh let's the faith, put those blue hearts up there, guys, because I'm not done uh giving up hope for Gannon. There's still work to be done here. There's still justice that needs to be done for Gannon here. Uh she is arrested, but she has not yet been convicted, and she has not yet plead. What? Okay. So she has not been convicted, and she has not yet put in a plea. So uh the fact of the matter is we don't know what's going to happen with her yet. Justice has yet to be served for Gannon, and we don't know where he is. So and most importantly, his family doesn't know where he is, where they can give this young boy a proper burial and they can send him off properly. His family deserves to see him off the way that they feel fit to do so. Uh, and justice isn't being served until those things are done. So those blue hearts need to stay up, man. And I love it. You guys are drowning this chat with the blue hearts, man. I love it. Thank you for that. Uh, but we are yeah, we're at first base, guys. That's where we're at. We're at first base. So still a lot to be done. Still a lot to happen here. Yeah, Anon, I agree with you. I'm hoping that they continue searching and that they find him. But uh, the fact of the matter is, though, the chances of finding Gannon are increased. Now, I want to know how everybody feels, because here's the thing. Here's another possibility that we're just gonna have to face, right? Now, is it still justice? I want to ask you guys an honest question. I want to ask everybody in the chat an honest question here. Is it still justice if the only way Gannon's family gets him back in order to send him off the way that they see fit, if the only way to do that is for Tisha to get a lighter sentence, Do you guys think that that's justice? I'm curious. I'm genuinely curious how you guys feel about that. Is that justice? Type of one. Yeah. So this turnout in the chat is exactly what I expected. I expected a lot of mixed answers. Because you know what? I have a lot of mixed feelings about it personally. I have not asked myself that question. The question came to mind, and I felt the need to ask you. And I have mixed feelings about it myself. I don't really have a straight answer for that. And that's infuriating. That makes me mad. Because I get the point that, like, as long as they get their boy back, sure, whatever it takes, and that's a very what's the word I'm looking for? I'm just gonna go classic and call it. That's the very Christian thing to look to do. That's the very Christian way to look at it, for sure. And I mean that in the nicest possible sense. I mean that in the most respectful possible sense. Um, that's the thing to do. To be forgiving enough to be able to, for the cost, because that's what it is. If you think about it, it's the family getting the closure that they need as far as sending their boy off the right way at the cost of having to forgive Tisha, because you don't have a choice. You don't have a choice in the matter. If you feel that that's the way it is, then there's a part of you that's forgiving her for what she's done. You're okay with her not paying the full price, right? So in a way, that is forgiveness, in a way, in my opinion. So okay, and on and on. So so according to Anon and on, they're looking for evidence in South Carolina. We need to re-listen to that. So if that's the case, then there's a possibility that she took his body all the way to South Carolina. I mean, if that's the case, again, the likelihood of finding him is going to be really difficult. And so we're going to probably have to depend on her giving up that information. But yeah, that's the thing, man, is we're probably going to have to find a place in our hearts to forgive her. And I don't know how I feel about that. I don't I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know if I'm okay with that. I don't know if I'm okay with that. But somebody ultimately somebody made a comment here in the chat when I asked that question, and that person said that's up to the family. I can't disagree with that. It's not up to us, guys. It's not up to us. That's up to the family. That's a little boy. That is up to his mother and his father. That is a young little boy. So that's not up to us, guys. It's up to them to decide what justice is. I truly believe that. It's not up to us to decide what justice is. So, I think I'm going to go ahead and end it on that note, cut it off here at an hour, and then I'm going to go to the gym. And I'll probably be back on later tonight. We'll see. People that I'm subscribed to, man, they've been slacking. Nobody's been going live, and I'm usually in chats. And I want to, and by the way, before I go, anybody who's watches this that has their own channel, and I'm normally in your chat, and it's during the week between 4 and midnight. I can't be in your chat anymore. I got in trouble at work for listening to YouTube on my phone. So I'm not going to be in your chat during those times. I do apologize. Don't think that I lost interest or I unsubscribed or anything like that. But thank you guys for those blue hearts for Gannon as well. And again, guys, you guys are the best, and I love hanging out with you guys. I really appreciate you guys logging on, and I hope you enjoyed this because I absolutely did. I absolutely enjoyed talking with you guys, especially with this kind of touchy subject matter. I know I have a little bit of a way of kind of cutting a little deep with thought. But I appreciate you guys for putting up with it and indulging me. You guys are really, really great. Guys, you guys have a great night. We will do this again very, very soon. I am quite certain of that. And for all you new subs, thank you for joining. Good night.